Good day, everyone. So now we will witness the battle of debate. I'm Carla de la Torre,
I'm EllahRose Fetalcorin,
your host for the
host
day.
for today.
Each speaker has given 3 to 5 minute speech, forward some rebuttals, then argument. The motion for today is legalize divorce in the Philippines. So first, let's hear the motion of the Prime Minister of the government side.
People fall in love, but people also fall out of love. Good day to all of you present here. I'm Christine B. Canabal, the Prime Minister of the government. This House believes that divorce should be legalized. That divorce should legalize as a way to escape or separate from their spouse where they experience abuse, domestic violence, suffering due to unhappiness, where the partners can take it anymore and they can live together. The words, till death do us part, are the words that most of us believe. Marriage is a sacred union between the woman and man. So, it must be cherished, valued with love. But what if the love that a couple once shared together fades away? What if the love becomes weak and unstable as time passes by? What if everything changes and a person started to live a life full of misery? To solve these problems, they need to get divorced so that divorce should be implemented in the Philippines. We agree that divorce should be implemented in the Philippines because it gives you another chance to live your life in your way. After a divorce, you will be able to restart your life with or without another partner. You can be happy again if you make the right decision after. In this debate, the question is, does legalizing divorce in the Philippines can solve marital problems? There are many failed and unhappy marriages in the world because divorce is a good way out of abusive relationships. The victims of domestic violence deserve a chance to have a fresh start and live a life separate from their partners that have caused them so much pain and suffering. Many times, the person you marry isn't the same after a few years. They may develop problematic behaviors that can cause serious harm, such as being abusive. Thus, implementing divorce in the Philippines appeals to the wife or husband to be separated from each other because of different reasons. Divorce will affect the children. Yes, it is. Having a broken family affects children, but parents need to tell them and make them understand why they need to separate in a good way. Parents can explain to their children that the world is imperfect but it's okay. Forcing two parents who are sick of each other to stay together have a big impact for the child. Hearing some screams, flying objects, and threats can affect the normal childhood of a child. We knew that some children with divorced parents are fine because the parents ensured that the children loved and taken care of despite of their failed marriage. And it conclude my speech that divorce is necessary to be legalized. I, as the first speaker of the government, discussed some reasons why divorce should legalize in the Philippines.
So now let's call the leader of opposition.
Okay, good day everyone. I'm Mickaela Corona, the leader of opposition, and I'm to defend our stand. Philippine government announced that a bill proposing the legalization of divorce in the Philippines had been approved by the Committee of the Population and Family Relation of the House of Representatives. And I think that this is not good for everyone. We must not let it to approve or to happen because the enforcement of divorce is not appropriate in the Philippines or in our country. And because having a divorce affect the psychological health of the couple. We all know that if the we all know that if it's happened, couple can suffer a negative psychological balance, including high levels of anxiety, unhappiness, and even depression can possibly happen as a suicide. And divorce doesn't just affect only the couple, but only the couple who is splitting, but also the children feel the effect or the impact of this separation. And divorced parent ability, and we all know that if he or she might see how problematic marriage is, and child end up not marrying at all. And some child may also suffer depression also because of the breakup of their family, and some of them blame their or themselves, and it will result of a child suicide and or being rebel to their family. And another things that divorce should not be acceptable because this will have a big impact or effect of our Filipino culture and even in our church. We all know that marriage is a God's sacrament that we need to do or follow, and if we disobey it, we disobey God too. And if the couples has a problem, most Roman Catholics will try to resolve their problems in their marriage to avoid divorce as it's forbidden by their church. And if the marriage has broken down, they can get a civil divorce, but they will be unable to remarry or marry again in the eyes of the Roman Catholic Church or even in the eyes of God because they made a an everlasting promises in church during their original marriage ceremony. Also, divorce also affect the Filipino culture because especially because it puts the family at the center of one's life, and the main source of financial security and the fountain of one's emotional, even moral and spiritual nourishment. And the breakup of the family life would a would destroy the marital relationship and also the physical advancement and the emotionally emotional growth. Also the moral and spiritual development of every member of the family, and especially the children. Given the family-centered Filipino culture, and instead of saving the dignity of human being, this legalization of divorce, the individual lead to the emotionally sick and morally ill and even lack of spiritually. Marriage is not just an easy process. On this, there is a process before it reaches that point of being a married. And in that process, only the two in the relationship should know if they are worthy to swear or to promise each other. We all know that I said it earlier that it is a sacrament that we must honor, and through divorce, it will lose its validity. And the God's word and or the words of God will lose its value. If you say it's good to get divorced because the person who is the victim or being abused in the relationship is moving away from their partner, and yes, that it's right, but divorce is not a solution because you can talk, you can find a way, or even you can live in the house if they are not good to be with. And with this divorce also possible for their child to observe the negative idea, and it can result in unnecessary things. So, what is the good by divorce if a child involved in their divorce is affected? If their health is also affected too? What is the
So,
essence of being married if we let married
means
people be given another chance to remarry? If you
the
are already
opposition,
married to
the
someone
opposition
else,
side, you already have 5 minutes, so we need to call the deputy prime of minister of the government side to hear her motion.
So, good day, ladies, gentlemen, and to our facilitators. My name is Sunshine Collado, the Deputy Prime Minister of the government side. So, before anything else, I would like to rebut some of the arguments from the opposition side. So, first of all, from the argument that it's pro- prohibited from our beliefs and to the sacrament of the church, it is actually part of the prohibited definitions, which is tautology, which makes that argument invalid. So whatever we do, we really cannot argue on the divorce legitimacy on the basis of religious customs. But we have stronger arguments regarding this debate. So when you said that before they get married, partners already know um, the couple must know the personalities of each other before they get married. But um once the two once the two person get married, they didn't really predict what would happen in the future. Some guys or some people could be manipulative. At first they are very kind gentlemen, but in the end they are like monsters. Then they will abuse you at the end. Then next is it affects the psychological balance that could cause to anxiety, depression to the couple and to the child. So um it's better for first for the kid. It's better for the kid to only have one parent or separated parent than to be stuck in a toxic family. Being stuck in a toxic family could affect their personality, their mental health, and could cause trauma, anxiety, and depression that could affect the child's future. There are um there are also some instances where the kid thought that being abusive is good because it's what he or she saw every day in their livinghood. So, staying in a toxic marriage could only expose the child even more to abuse and be miserable in the future. So, but we could um awake them to this kind of stuff like um my kid, where me and your father are going to divorce, so that the kid could easily understand what's happening with the family. Next is regarding the couple. Why stay together if you cannot live anymore with your spouse? Even though you tried to make the marriage work, but it is impossible. You and the children are miserable, and that is unhealthy. The divorce must or and should be allowed. This is so um to and next I would like to strengthen our arguments. First, it will save people trapped in abusive marriage. So the main
I
reason
mean,
why many people wants to legalize divorce in the Philippines is to save the abused women from their abusive husbands. But wives aren't just the ones who experience this. Though this bill is pro-woman legislation, there are also men being abused by their wives or by the family of their partner. They, as well, need to escape from the terrible and painful experience. Because of domestic violence, it comes to the point where some people even commit homicide to end the life of their abusive partner and to um, end their suffering from that unhealthy relationship, which is even worse. By legalizing divorce, it will free them from a horrible experience from their
4 minutes.
partner and would be given a chance to live a better life and find someone who truly loves them. So next, it solves marital problems according to the survey that conducted by the Statistical Research Development in 2018 that shows the reasons why respondents think divorce should be legalized in the Philippines. 51% of the
I'm
respondents
sorry,
stated.
Deputy Prime Minister. We exceeded the time. So let's call the opposition.
Good day, everyone. My name is Vernelle Stephanie de Guzman Cuasay, the Deputy Leader of Opposition. This House believes that divorce shouldn't be legalized here in the Philippines. But before I come to my own argument, I just want to rebut some point of Ms. Collado just have said. It is about abusive abuse. This is about abuse. If if that is the case, will separation be enough? I believe if we really want to end the problem regarding abuses, we should rather penalize the wrong actions. But most of all, uplifting morals and values would be the long-term key toward this. Now, let me come to my first argument, which is the negative effect of divorce on children. Divorce has been seen to have a negative effect on the children involved, especially during the transition period as they deal with the separation of their parents. This may manifest in various ways, such as diminished social skills, proneness to anger, and increased irritability. A child of divorce may develop commitment issues and doubt his ability to marry. He or she might see how problematic marriage is and end up not marrying at all. Some may also suffer depression because of the breakup of their family. In addition, divorce may influence the child into losing faith in the concept of a family, which leads to another negative effect of this process. If divorce were to be legalized, it would amplify the mentality that marriage can be easily broken, which may result in people putting less effort in making it last and ensuring that they will pick the right partner. My next argument is that about Philippine values. The biggest factor as to why the Philippines should reject divorce is religion. Roughly 83% of Filipinos are Roman Catholics according to De Leon 2014. This means that the church opinion matters a lot to the people. Marriage is one of the 7 sacraments that all Catholics celebrate and hold dear. Marriage, according to American Catholic, is a public sign that one gives oneself totally to another person. The family is thus put into danger and further exposed to the risk of breaking apart. My next argument is that the importance of marriage. If divorce is allowed, the sanctity of marriage will be lost. It won't seem like such an important decision to some because one can always undo and redo. Secondly, couples will soon choose the easy way out of situation. The simplest of problems will have the power to break marriage apart because couples would see divorce as an option instead of working through the problem as a team. As a result, more and more couples will end in divorce and will set a bad example of their children. Overall, we believe that divorce should not be legalized in our country for the benefit of the children's physical, psychological, and emotional state. as well as the protection of the family. Although legalizing divorce can save many individuals from bad relationships, it can also erase the importance of marriage. We should continue our fight against the full passage of the divorce bill. That's all. Thank you.
2 minutes. So now, let's call and hear the motion of the government.
Okay, a pleasant day to all. I'm Tricia, Alzate, the government's whip. The Philippines should legalize divorce as a way of escaping from their spouse where they experience abuse. We're fighting for divorce, especially because of those people who's inside of toxic family, especially the children. It will free them from horrible relationship. Since divorce isn't just about having a new wife or having a new husband, it's about freedom, being free from abusive partner, stress, depression, and being free from suffocating and toxic relationship. Before I proceed, let me refute the statement that has been said of the opposition side. They said that it's not good for everyone. Well, in fact, the thing is, it's not going to impose on people or couple. We just want to give option to those people who already experiencing violence in their homes. Since you keep on mentioning church, in Spain, they have divorce despite the fact that they are the one who brought Catholicism in our country. You said that the church prohibit divorce, meaning to say that the priest is against with it. Why does the priest statement is matter in kind of this kind of topic where in fact they are not allowed to marry despite the fact that they will not gonna experience the nightmare of being abused by their partner. You keep on saying that we need to value the family culture of our country. A family isn't bound by a husband or a wife living on a one roof that continuously fight. A child living with a both parent with a toxic environment is worse than a living with a single parent who is at peace. And you keep on saying that you can both talk about what? About the problem. Our society is progressive. Every time there's always a change that can occur. And human psyche is complex and subjecting a couple in a long-drawn toxic relationship and thinking it will magically fix is kind of delusional. And when it comes on the separation of couples, there must be a legal and amicable way to end it. And divorce is not mandatory. We just want to give choice and option to those people, to those couple who experience domestic violence, especially to those women. And divorce is cheaper than annulment because annulment is too-way expensive. And since we're talking about the legalization of divorce in our country, we know how hard life is in the Philippines. So we should give the Filipino the better option when it comes in their family. And people have this thinking that marriage is always blissful and divorce is kind of devastating. But when you observe that your relationship is toxic and there's a violence, in order for your kids to have a nurturing environment, you need to choose what's best for them, and it is separation. And we can attain it through divorce, which is a cheaper option. And rather than to jump to another person's life and start to build a legitimate family, if we have divorce, both parents can legally separate and start a new life with a new partner or without that can sustain and provide the love that they need as an individual. That's all.
So now let's call on the opposition whip, Corona Ferl.
Good day again, everyone. I'm Mickaela as I'm here as a opposition whip. About the abuse, being abused in a relationship is not a reason to have a divorce. Because if you are being abused, then you think a law about abuse, so you don't need to be divorced. Because if you let your partner being divorced by you you can give him or her a freedom to remarry or marriage again. So if we let it happen, we consider their bad doings among their partners and other people that they met and they're married again. And soon or later, if we let divorce in our country acceptable, marriage will just a simple things or an easy things, and or the essence of this will be worthless. And about it is not a mandatory. Yes, it's not mandatory, but by this we let people think that they have a choices to being a to break that relationship by to break the relationship to their partners because they think that they can marry or marriage again to other people. That's it.
So now let's call the opposition reply.
Good day to my fellow debaters. I would like to begin by stating and comparing the points made by my side and the government side. First, it was said by the government side that divorce should be legalized here in our country to end the suffering due to unhappiness. But we can say our side defended our points better because it was clear that divorce, if legalized, will be a lifetime suffering from negative psychological effect that will lead to any possible suicidal events. Children feels bad about seeing their mother and father separated. Their psychological and social health may be affected. Divorce is not only for parents but again for children and even sometimes for grandparents and in-laws and all people related to their family. Divorce gives health problems, though it may not be severe at first, but as seen it gives us mental health problems like depression, to the point that people commit suicide. Children were badly affected here also. Besides, there are ways that can help resolve marriages and solve problems. Second, the government said that divorce should be legalized to end those abusive cases between married couples, but we can say our side defended our points better because these kind of cases or action can be penalized first. Separation is not the key or solution because the rest of the problem will follow. A problem indeed needs an effective and right action for the betterment of the whole family. Love between the married couples may be fade away temporarily because of the recent situation, but we believe that it is part of the post-wedding journey and it needs a real-time process of healing, understanding, and knotting back again the string of love for the sake of the children and the whole family. Third, it was also stated by the other side that it is better to have a parent than to stuck in a toxic relationship. But we can say our side defended our points better because it is not good or better to have a broken family. It has a big impact for all the family members holistically. Filipinos are known as a family-oriented citizens, and by separation, it is also disobeying and neglecting the essence of marriage. When you will enter marriage, make sure that you are ready. Make sure that you are unsatisfied to be single, wants to marry, and make sure who you will marry is your love. Make sure that you achieve what you want to achieve and always remember you can achieve more even when in marriage. Marriage would not last if the two would have the thinking of I can divorce when the problem arises. Despite of the some countries allows divorce, always remember that marriage is permanent and it must be permanent. And with that, I would like to repeat the opposition side has made it clear in this debate that the motion must not move at all and that we have defended our side very well to a win. Thank you.
So now, let's hear the motion of the government reply.
So, good day everyone. I am Francis Dominic Corona, the government reply of the government side. I am going to assess the points of our side and the opposition side about the topic. Okay. Why should we legalize divorce here in the Philippines? Divorce should be legalized here in the Philippines because it is a fact that countless of marriages have turned into vivish to the point of having a violent consequences. It will be beneficial for the Philippines to be legalized divorce because it will ease the burden of separate and compatible couples. We cannot deny that there are really broken relationships no matter how we try to fix it. I have witnessed a number of failed relationships that cannot work anymore, and it includes my sister. No matter how you try to fix the relationship, if there are no compatible enough, it will never work. And according to the preliminary result from the 2017 National Demographic and Health of Survey, one of the four women from ages 15 to 49 years old have either experienced physical, sexual, or emotional violence from their husbands. One of the biggest causation of this is inclined with the abuse of substance like alcohol and drugs. It was a bigger problem. It creates an increasing problem of violence and domestic abuse in the family, which can put tremendous risk to the children. Married couples should have a freedom to decide if divorce is relevant or necessary. As stated above, it's better to legalize divorce in our country to stop the violence that happened in a household that threaten the safety of our children. Why should we legalize divorce in the Philippines? Present situation demands it. Reality tells us that nowadays, there are many failed unhappy marriages across the nation. Marriage is not as blissful as people expect. Divorce is never as devastating as people imagine. Divorce gives people fresh start to lead better lives. Filipinos living in a marriage where love, respect, friendship, and compatibility are gone is a life without hope. Let us think about other people suffering due to unhappiness brought by their marriage. What is the sense of being burdened by a piece of paper when it's actually ruining your whole life? Divorce nullifies marriage. Therefore, giving couple the freedom to remarry and to escape from unhappy relationships. And I think we defended our side wisely and clearly.
2
And
minutes.
with that, I raise my case. Thank you.
So congratulations to every participant for exerting their effort to this debate. It's very interesting topic because it's naturally happen at this point of time. The government side provided strong evidence even though they exceeded the time, and I need to cut their speeches. And the government side provided strong evidence, and they support their claim.
For the opposition side, it is excellent that you was able to present your point accordingly. You have a strong foundation of your argument and building a strong rebuttals to win your.
So this is the end of the debate. Thank you for thank you for exerting your effort, and have a good day.